Big 2-0.
Hey,
Big 2-0.
hey, No Narratives Podcast, episode 20. We here.
Oh, I didn't get it.
You tried it.
I wanted to record. I wanted to record after the game. Big Moon, K-State, they both said it's a bad idea. I was cool, you know what I'm saying? But they was like, it's a bad idea. So I was like, cool. But episode 20, we here, man. We made it to another even number. Hey, I just want to hop right into it. I really want to hop right into it, y'all. I'll let K-State go first because I just feel like he got some shit to say. So you go first, my brother. And I took notes on the game. So
the floor is
you
yours.
can hop around. Yeah, you can hop around if you want, or you could just say first, second, third. It don't matter how you do it. Just go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm going to say this. The game as a whole was absolutely atrocious. I will say this. Massive shout out to the Green Bay Packers. Massive shout out to the Green Bay Packers defense in specifics. Their defense came ready to play. Their defense handled their business. They made the defensive front seven and specifically their defensive line for the Green Bay Packers made the Houston Texans offensive line their bitch. Hands down. Hands down. Mm-hmm. I think I was reading a stat. The Packers blitzed on third down only. That was it. They blitzed 47% of the game on third down. First and second down, 0%. Which means on first and second down, they were just running stunts the entire time with their defensive line. That was it. Running stunts. Now, if y'all don't know what stunts are, it's basically if they're peeling a defensive end from the left and they're peeling him around to come up the middle to try and confuse the offensive lineman, and they were confusing the shit out of the Texans' offensive line. Made C.J. Stroud's life a living hell that entire game. And as a Texan fan, I was annoyed. I just got done telling the guys right now, flat out, just got done telling them, even if we somehow found a way to win this game, I was going to be truly annoyed and pissed off to do this episode because it was, without a doubt, the most embarrassing showing on offense I've ever seen. Shout out to the Houston Texans defense and special teams for getting 2 turnovers on defense, picking off Jordan Love twice. Almost had the game-winning, game-clinching interception with Eric Murray there at the end. However, that would have been a tall task if you ask me. And then the defense, and then the special teams coming up big, getting the muff punt. I think that was early in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken. So huge for both defense and special teams. But the O-line was absolutely atrocious. C.J. Stroud finished the game with 86 yards on 10 of 21 passing. 86 yards on for those of y'all that don't pay attention to football, that's bullshit. And it's not all on him.
That's Tim Tebow-esque.
Yeah, and it ain't all on him. You know, I do feel like there were some throws that he underthrew, and I think that was because he had been getting pressured so much that he was trying to rush himself to get the ball out. But O-line gave him absolutely nothing. The only positive on offense was Joe Mixon. 25 carries, $115, 2 tutties. That was it. The only positive on offense. Terrible offensive line play. And more specifically, when the Texans had an opportunity to really kind of put the pressure on Green Bay down at the end of the game. I'm cool with running the ball and being conservative and even just trying to kick the field goal for the win. What I'm not cool with on 3rd and 15, throwing a 10-yard out route. Best case scenario, Tank Dell catches that ball, but he's still out of bounds, so the clock stops. You're not forcing Green Bay to use their 3rd and final timeout. You're not forcing them to put pressure on them to actually go down and get a game-winning drive with 0 timeouts. You're not forcing that issue. So this has become a recurring theme with Bobby Slowick, especially in these late game situations where in the past we've gotten lucky, but he's done it at least once or twice before where it's come down to a 1-score game. We either need to get a first down or we need to run the clock out or we need to force the issue with the other team using their timeout. And on 3rd and whatever the hell it is, he's over here dropping back and throwing the ball. Prime example against the Bills. Drop back 3 straight times against the Bills when we could have ran the clock out. We just got lucky that the defense came out there and pitched a shutout on 3 and out with 30 seconds left to where only 16 seconds came off the clock. We got lucky. He's got to get better at his play calling. The Texans went into this game 5 defensive starters on the shelf. 5 of them.
Yeah.
50% of your defensive backfield, Kamari Lassiter and Jimmy Ward, and basically all your starting linebackers. And this is also was saying Christian Harris has yet to start or yet to play this year, so that's another starting linebacker that you don't have. The Texans also lost a defensive lineman for suspension, so the Texans were shorthanded on defense, yet the defense still came and played, and I got to give them a shout out on that.
Yeah, I think for this game it was a comedy of errors from the coaching staff to the even like some played the defense played good. Everybody kept saying 5 starters out, but the Neville Hewitt, as well as he played, he had a boneheaded penalty that led directly to a touchdown. Like it,
Suplex
and it's
City,
like
boy.
yeah, and it's like for football players, I think football players and coaches more than any other sport, they make the dumbest mistakes at the worst times. It's just
Yeah.
it's literally uncanny. It's like a skill. It's like the dumbest shit you could think that they could do in the moment, they do it. Coaching, whether it's calling a play, not calling the play, not calling timeout, whatever the case may be, they do the idiot shit. But I think that I was going to come out here and kick Bobby Slowick's back in. I was going to do that. But then I was like, well, what can Bobby Slowick do when the offensive line can't block simple stunts? We have won a lot since week 2 versus the Bears. But even if you go back to the week 2 matchup versus the Bears, the Texans offensive line struggled against stunts in week 2 against the Chicago Bears. So this offensive line, if it's not pre-snap penalties, it's this.
Mental errors
And they can't Mina Kimes had tweeted, I think like in the third quarter. She said 50% over 50% of the dropbacks that CJ Stroud had, he had been pressured on. And you said they only blitzed on third down. That doesn't mean they didn't get pressure on first and second downs and when they was trying to pass the ball. And then I saw another stat. Up until the fourth quarter, the Texans were 2-9 or 2 of 10 in third down conversions. They didn't complete a passing third down until the fourth quarter when he threw that 3rd and 10 pass to Xavier Hutchinson. And then that was when they let the clock go down to 2 minutes. And that's when the coaching staff decided to play pussy ball and effectively lose the Houston Texans the game. Outside of Joe Mixon, the entire offense didn't show up. CJ Stroud has to play better, so it has to be some type of accountability for CJ Stroud. But in my opinion, how much can you really put on Slowick and Stroud when the offensive line cannot block? If Slowick says this player is going to give me 17 yards, 12 yards, 8 yards, 27 yards, but the offensive line can't fucking block, what can you do? At that point, as a play caller, your hands are tied, and I don't want to give away every single point. I want us to have something else to talk about. I have other notes on here, but D'Amico Ryans has to get better, man. I mean, I just think that some of his stuff is questionable as well, and I said that in the Buffalo game. But go ahead, Big Moon. I don't want to hog up all the time, man. Go ahead, Big Moon.
You're good. You're good. That linebacker's name is Jake Hansen, by the way, number 35.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh wait, one last thing, Big Moon. One last thing, Big Moon. I just want to say,
Go
in the
ahead.
fourth quarter, there was a point. CJ Stroud had 7 completions and he was sacked 4 times. So he had only 3 more completions than times he was sacked. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Well, D'Amico Ryans even said that any option is open right now on the table when it comes to the offensive line because it was probably the worst showing that I've seen by far. Shout out to really the NFC North. I mean, we're 1-2 against them this season, and each game it just looks like Bobby and the offense just can't find a rhythm.
And you got the toughest one coming up in week 10.
Exactly. So I mean, there's definitely got to be big changes on that, but what can you really say? I mean, there was a couple times in that game where I was thankful that we didn't lose CJ either because of either pass protection or whatever when the blitzers came freely, and definitely yeah, man. I mean, shout out to the defense, like everybody says. Bobby, what the hell is you doing, boy? Because it's just not working out right now. It ain't working out with offensive play calling, so definitely have to go back and try to make a perfect scheme. or something better. I'll definitely say going into next week, don't run away from the run game because that's honestly the only thing that was good, as Steg said, in the whole offense sequence was just the run game. So it's a big game for us. Definitely for against the Colts, we're going trying to get the number one positioning in AFC or AFC South. So we definitely have to come with better game planning, man. Really, I gotta say. I mean, shout
I
out to
mean,
the
but
the go right ahead.
no, it's cool. It's just, I mean, I just don't want to kick Slowick's back in because it's like,
Nah,
I mean, I understand he has to be better. I've had issues with Bobby Slowick. I thought it was blasphemous that he was getting head coaching interviews last season. I was like, bro, you just a first time play caller. But it's like, what if we are giving Stroud this bill and saying he threw for 86 yards, he had 10 completions, he got sacked and got pressured and got hurried X amount of times. The little times that he did have like a time in the pocket, he underthrew, he overthrew. It was inaccurate because his time was sped up. Like Slowick is cooking with that same offensive line.
and I agree
So
with that.
for the first time, we saw CJ Stroud flustered on the bench. He's had bad games. He's taking his helmet off, throwing it. We're seeing the offensive line the offense in total have meetings on the sideline in the first quarter, in the second quarter, in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, the Texans have probably had the worst third quarter offense in the NFL. They don't score points. I don't think they have scored a field goal in the third quarter this season. I
We
don't
have.
think they have picked. Okay, maybe. Okay, cool. We have. I don't think that they've had more than
against
5 first
Indianapolis week 1.
downs week one. I was thinking that. I was like probably week one when they put up
Minnesota as well.
Minnesota. They put up a field goal in the third quarter
No, they
In the
scored a
opening drive.
touchdown to start the fourth quarter or to start the third quarter. Oh,
to
I'm
start
sorry,
the third. They scored.
no, they scored a touchdown with 3 minutes and 56 seconds left against Minnesota in the
They
Oh, I thought it was
third quarter.
that game. Okay, let me rephrase. Let me rephrase because this is no narratives podcast. So let me rephrase and get my wording together. Outside of games where they have completely wet the bed or week one, they have been a shitty third quarter team. It doesn't matter how well they play. They seem to play in the first, second, or fourth quarter. The third quarter, it's like they struggle to get first downs. They struggle to get the offense going at all. Like it's just, I've noticed it. I don't know if anybody else noticed it. The Vikings game, I don't want to count that game because the game was out of fucking hand. So it's like I don't really want to count that game, but I will count it. But I think, and I also think like Petrie was good in the first quarter. He had a pass breakup that led to a pick with Hewitt. Then he ran through a block to like stop like a crucial run. I saw he like kind of ran through and just pushed his body in a way that stopped the Aaron Jones run. Like I said, Hewitt got an unnecessary roughness. It led to a touchdown. These are all in my notes. Petrie, again, he was popping in the second quarter. He was popping off the film. But listen, dude, what was this? I got it written
The
down
unwillingness to make changes at halftime is starting to cost this team because they're
I was
doing.
gonna say first passing. I apologize. First passing third down conversion came at the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter. Go ahead about the halftime adjustments.
Go ahead, say something.
I mean, the Texans, honestly, bro, they lost the mental game way before the game even started, bro.
Oh
With
yeah,
With Stephon Diggs,
he was the only one, right?
Yeah, he's the only one that got into it because he has, I guess because he played for Minnesota, he probably had his little beef already
Where
with
was
them or
his
whatever.
teammates at?
I can't tell you on that one. But then but also Jair Alexander, bro, he got into Tank's face and in his head after he dropped the touchdown pass in the first quarter. And even CJ was talking noise. It's things that you don't see from CJ that happened in this game. So I mean, mentally, yeah, they were not focused at all. And then everybody's talking about it. Like CJ gets like tackled on the sideline, getting bumped by all these Green Bay Packers, and there's no O line there to protect them. To try at least like, hey, bro, back off my quarterback.
We have too many pretty ass bitches on this offensive line. We have too
I
many
agree.
hoes on this offensive line. We have hoes on this offensive line. We have people that sell pussy on Bizanet on this offensive fucking line. I need grown fucking men. I need dudes that wrestle hogs, dudes that own rifles. I need those types of cats on the offensive fucking line. I don't know
Big
what this shit
facts.
is
I
though.
ain't gonna
We
lie
just
though.
got
I
too many
read your
fucking
I
pretty
read your
boys.
comment on Facebook yesterday. Shit had me cracking the fuck up.
Was I
I ain't
lying?
gonna. No, you ain't lying though, and I'm not gonna say it. I guess I could say it, but
It's just it's a running joke on Twitter. It's a running
yeah,
joke on Twitter. I didn't think of this or anything like that, but it's a running joke. You cannot have an all black offensive line. Like it's just they're not the best. You need Wisconsin, you need Iowa, you need West Virginia, you need Nebraska, you need those guys.
you
That's
need
what you
some. You
need.
need some steak and taters, cornbread eating motherfuckers.
You need
Yeah,
Billy
that's what you
Bob. You
need.
need Billy
You need Billy
Bob.
Yeah.
Bob. You need Billy
Hey, but
Bob.
you need Jason Kelsey. Like you need those type of cats on the offensive line, man. We got to
Yeah.
like Laramie Tunsil has a picture. He has a turtleneck with a scarf on, like with his legs crossed, and he looked doing like a I'm not looking at the camera pose. Get that pretty shit out of here, bro. I'm tired of this. Like I'm tired. Give me some white boys, man. Like I need that on the
Ken,
offensive line.
Kenyon Green from Atascocita, so that
Yeah.
you already know what that
But
means.
Kenyon Green is the worst graded.
He was the worst one.
He's the worst graded offensive lineman period in the entire NFL based off of PFF.
Atascocita must be a suburb now, because it's not definitely not the country. It's
Not no
definitely
more.
not the country the way he
Not
fucking
no more.
played. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, man. Listen, man. The offensive line, we got too many bitches on the offensive line, bro. We got too
I
many
mean, we could, but we could
baddies.
literally sit here. We can literally sit here and pick apart the entire game. What it all came down to, offensive line limited what the offense could do, and certain play calling in certain situations and certain coaching moments uh, didn't take place. Nothing happened. So you can
Did it
really
piss
sit
you
here.
off that they went to settle for 3? Because one first down would have won the fucking game. Why not try to get some yards? Why play pussy ball when you know that they're going to use 3 timeouts and then you don't even make them use their third timeout?
Maybe they
Well,
didn't think they had enough time to protect to even get that yardage. Probably. I
I
think.
mean, but that's the thing. That's why I flat out said you didn't even force them to use the third timeout in that situation.
Facts.
And that's why I was saying best case scenario in that with that play call, Tank catches that ball on the sideline and he goes out of bounds and the clock stops anyway. You don't
Yeah.
throw it in the middle of the field. You're not having CJ hold it. You know, I remember the announcer saying, I think Tony Romo even said it, believe it or not,
Mm-hmm.
taking a sack in this situation isn't actually a bad thing because it still forces the clock to keep running.
And they have to call a timeout
And they got to call a timeout.
and everything. Like, oh,
Uh,
you know what's funny? Joe Mixon was like, "Oh, we're 5-2. We're a good team." I'm like, that's the perfect definition of a guy that's saying y'all lost. I like because he had a
I
great
got
game.
my. I got my.
I got mine.
I got
He like,
mine.
oh, we're a great team. We're 5-2. Da 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 da. I'm not worried at all. I'm like, yeah, he had a good game. You know, he gonna be talking loud
Man,
on the airplane
look,
back to Houston.
I'll accept the loss, but at the end of the day, it's just reality check. We have to beat teams like this to be great. I mean, Green Bay,
Yeah.
Green Bay had a nice built team already. So
I would like to
even
see them
though,
healthy though. Healthy at home in Houston. It'll be a different story. Like Detroit, they
yeah,
play Detroit here. They play Detroit in Houston.
Sunday night,
Yeah. Yeah. So I think Houston is definitely better. Like for CJ Stroud to have the game that he had and for the Texans to lose by 2, like when CJ
I'm,
Stroud has a
I'm
game that
gonna
he
fuck
had,
y'all.
you lose like
I'm
you
gonna
lose to the
fuck y'all head up
Vikings.
though. I'm gonna fuck y'all head up though. Who is Green Bay beat other than us? At the time of their wins, we're the only team that's got a winning record.
Philadelphia.
They
No,
lost
they
to
lost to
Philadelphia
Philly. They lost to
35-29.
Philly.
Shit.
They beat the
Yeah, they
they
lost to
beat the
Philly.
Colts in week 2 16-10. They beat the Titans
Yeah.
30-14. They lost to the Vikings 31-29, which was a good game. They beat the Rams, beat the Cardinals, and then they just beat us.
Yeah, they haven't
Okay.
really beat anybody.
They ain't really beat anybody. So what is that
Yeah, they
saying
haven't
to
beat
us?
anybody.
And and
I
I was telling
mean,
this
you
to
get
my
a
dad
team.
earlier.
But we
And
had our
I don't
chances to win that game, though, bro. I
we
mean,
did.
we couldn't
We
execute. We
really
settled for
did.
field goals, and
But
it's
you
like,
know that that's a conversation that everybody brings up. If the Texans win yesterday, they bring that up. Oh, well, the Packers haven't beat anybody. You know what I'm saying? It gets flipped regardless. It's a lose. Well, in terms of media talking and us talking and recording, it's a lose-lose situation. You win, they bring up the schedule. You lose, the Packers are the real deal. The Texans are frauds. It's
for real.
regardless of how. So your best thing you could do is just win. Just do what you gotta do. You know what I mean?
Just do what you got to do to win. But in this moment, they didn't do that. You know, I was talking to my dad earlier, and I hate to bring up injuries and whatnot, but I told my dad, I was like, I've never seen, if you and I would have had a conversation last year and then leading into this year, where it seems to me like the key to this offense is Nico freaking Collins, we would have been laughing, especially after picking up Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon in the offseason. I've never seen an offense struggle and squander as much as they've had with Nico Collins going down with injury.
So you think that yesterday's game Nick goes differently, well, I don't even want to say vastly differently. I'll just say differently in a positive way offensively if Nico is there, despite the offensive line not being able to handle, like you said, simple stunts. Not giving CJ any time
because there were moments in the game though, but there were moments in the game where CJ did have time to pass and throw the ball, but receivers weren't getting open. I mean, even the catch that Hutchinson had on third down, Alexander was still in his ass.
It was a diving catch.
It was a diving catch.
Yeah.
So it's like it was a great catch. The receivers aren't getting separation.
Mm-hmm.
So is that a testament to who the defensive scheme that defensive coaches are calling against the Texans, or are these receivers just not able to get separation against these guys? What seems to be the issue here?
I saw something on film. They said the game plan is they're just sending four. They're sending four, they're sending five, and they're playing cover four behind it. They're playing cover four, they're playing cover six behind it. They're keeping everything
in front of them, and they're playing zone, so it's limiting the passing windows. And if your offensive line can't give you 4 or 5 seconds to pass or a protection, then CJ can't sit there and pick apart.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember I had a conversation with my friends going into this season when we had Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, and everybody was excited about this Texans offense. I said, bro, the only thing that I envision slowing down this offense is the offensive line, because I said CJ Stroud is a pocket quarterback. So if he can't get protection, that's the only thing I see stopping this offense. If he gets protection, I have no worries whatsoever. If he don't get protection, that's a different problem, because CJ Stroud is mobile, but he isn't Lamar. He isn't Josh Allen. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I said that's the only thing. And so far this season, wins or losses, the only thing that has been able to slow down CJ Stroud is pre-snap penalties with the offensive line and bad offensive line play. Yes, sir. That's it. That's been the only thing.
Hey, y'all, as always, man, this was episode 20. We definitely appreciate y'all liking our videos, commenting on them. Hey, keep sharing it, keep subscribing, keep spreading the word. Reach out to us. Let us know what y'all want us to talk about, man. Give us feedback. We want, we're here to put out content not only for y'all but for the teams. Let us know who y'all like. Let us know if y'all want us to talk about a specific player, talk about a specific sport. Let us know so we can kind of do that stuff for you. Like always, share, subscribe, comment.
Comment. Yes, I like
comment,
it,
comment.
Man. All right, man, we out of here.